Welcome to the More Podcast with Ava and Najee, where we are manifesting original rich bitch experiences. Each week, we bring you travel reviews, wellness advice, and general millennial musings with a level of refinement. What level? It fucking depends. Hey, Ava.
Hey.
How are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling great.
I love it.
This is so exciting.
We're together again.
We are together again, recording our first full episode in person.
Yay.
Because normally we're on Zoom in different cities.
In different cities.
And today we're in the same city.
Today we're together again. Even though I feel like I just saw you a couple weeks ago in Minneapolis.
I know. That was last month. Isn't that
I
crazy?
know. Just time is flying.
It is.
Time is really flying. So much is happening this year. I feel like it might be 2020 all over again with just how much was going on, but in a better way because we're here together, starting new things, trying new things out, and talking about all of our favorite things.
How are you doing?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I have nothing to complain about. Life is good. I'm chilling. I have good people in my corner, have good people in front of me. I just try to keep it light, keep it bright, keep it moving. All right, keep it cute or put it on mute.
Keep it cute or put it on mute.
That's what they say.
That's very cute.
That's what they say. So, today our topic is friendships.
Friendships, adult friendships.
We're going to talk all about adult friendships today. I want to discuss how they begin, how they end, and basically what it really means to meet new people in your 30s and be a good friend in your 30s. And that looks a little different to everyone.
Yes. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous for this topic. I feel like friendships have been a bit of a trickier point in my life. I've had like a lot of great friends. I've had a lot of friendship breakups. And I think it's, it's very interesting. And I know that we all have experiences like that. But not gonna lie, when you picked this topic, I got a little stressed.
Well, I think
low-key stressed.
I think it's definitely something that, a lot of people can relate to. And I think we all have a little bit of sore spots about friendships. But I feel like through this podcast and through these conversations, I think this can be a catalyst for some healing and some learnings about ourselves, but about others as well.
Yes, that is right. So where do you want to start on these friendships?
Well, I want to give a quick overview of like friendships and how they grow and how they look different, as we progress through life. I mean, obviously, when we're kids and we're adolescents, a lot of that is based upon just pure convenience. I mean, we're in school together 5 times a day or 5 times a week. And we kind of just grow friendships from that because we see each other all the time. College is kind of similar, to be honest. I mean, we're in basically cohorts together, we're studying together, and that's a 4-year situation where you're kind of seeing the same people in the same classes over and over again. And also, it's just like a microcosm of like a big community where all of you are kind of like living similar lives.
Yeah.
So that's another kind of like relationship that can be built on convenience. But after those 4 years in undergrad, that's where people really start breaking off, right?
Yeah.
People are getting into their careers. They're establishing new relationships. They might be, going to grad school and more. They might move away. And those are when the friendships that you have developed over those years really start to get tested. And that's when you're really kind of learning more about yourself, more and more about yourself as you get older.
Right.
So I think that's kind of where I want to start off because that's where the work really begins when it comes to friendships, because friendships are just like any other relationship.
Yes.
Like with your family, with your significant other, with your coworkers, all of it just takes work.
Work with a capital W.
Capital W, capital O, capital R, capital K.
Caps lock work.
Okay. Rihanna was not playing when she was like, work, 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 work. So, I mean, it definitely takes a lot of work. And that work really does begin when the friendship stops being so convenient.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So did you have a lot of like close college friends? that you kind of progressed through life with afterwards, or how did that shake out for you?
You know, I have a good amount of friends that I'm still really close with after college. Of course, a lot of them kind of moved away. A lot of them are kind of like establishing their own brands, their own businesses. A lot of them are still in school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like in that particular phase of my life, being able to still be connected to those people is a joy for me. I think some of the more difficult parts for me are maybe people I didn't necessarily go to school with, but still kind of met in that same era.
Mm.
Um, and kind of just seeing how things progressed from there. Like for me specifically, I remember one of my friends I've known for probably over 10 years now. There was a time when they were kind of like just finding new hobbies, finding new friends to share those new hobbies with. And I felt like I was being put on the back burner. And that was actually with a couple of people. And I didn't really know how to deal with that. I felt like I was spiraling at one moment because I couldn't really grasp why they no longer wanted to spend time with me, but they wanted to spend all this time with their other friends.
Sure.
And that was just a very kind of difficult thing for me because I started to take it personally. A lot of negative thoughts started to come up. How I got out of it was just like really kind of internalizing why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And then also just kind of growing up. I was like, I realized, you know what? They're not a bad person for finding new hobbies and new friends to share those hobbies with. And I'm actually really, really happy that they found people to support them.
Yeah.
And the way that, I would support them or our other friends would support them. So I think after having that realization, I started to kind of focus a little bit more on myself. And honestly, it wasn't a smooth process. There was a lot of discussions that happened, a lot of realizations that happened. And sometimes things don't always go the way you want them to go, but they happen in a way that's best for both parties.
Right.
And I try to just take myself out of that situation and just look at it most objectively. And that's kind of how I got over that. Things change, people change, but it doesn't mean that you or they are bad people. Maybe, you're just going in different directions, or maybe the friendship has run its course overall.
I definitely resonate with that. And I think for me, those moments have been like clearest by like major life events, specifically marriages and babies.
Yeah.
And like, while I'm always super excited for a friend to get married, it's kind of one of those things where you just know because it's happened enough now. It's a pattern, it's a fact, actually. You just know that when you have friends that enter a new stage of life like that, like you're not really going to see them the way you used to.
Right.
So things are going to change. And, I think it can almost feel like a bit of like a mourning of a loss.
Yeah.
Because it's not to say like, oh, okay, my best friend's married now, we can't hang out. It's not like that, but it's like, wow, my best friend's married now and has like new priorities,
right,
and other people that, come maybe first. And that can be really hard. And I think that that's definitely a big one, especially for people our age, like in their 30s, getting married, doing the whole thing.
Definitely.
And then the other one is babies.
Yes.
That one's even harder, I think, because that really does put people in I've observed like a totally different mindset around everything.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with being Auntie Ava. I'm really cool with being
cool
Auntie
aunt.
Ava.
That's cool, rich aunt.
However, yes, Auntie Rich Bitch Ava.
I know that's right.
But at the same time, it's the same thing where it's like, okay, maybe I get to see you twice a year, which I think sucks.
I know. That's really, really tough. But I always give passes to two or three specific occasions.
Okay.
It's not even marriage. Just because you're married does not mean you can ditch your friends. I already say that. It's not even marriage. It's babies.
Okay.
Having a baby.
Yeah.
Going to school. And starting and running a business.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're pulling away from the friendship and you're doing one of those three things, I totally understand. Because those are really, really high priority things. But everything else, I'm like,
You're like,
You can find time if you really want to.
Did you forget about me?
Exactly. Exactly. But babies are a really, really big one because I mean, it's just it's a baby.
It's a whole human.
It's a baby. Like
it's a baby.
And they cry and they're up all the time and people are tired.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people are doing it single. So I don't even know how people are doing. I don't know how people are doing it single when it's hard, when it's two people. So I'm just babies, definitely.
I know. Yeah, it's tough. And it's also to your point of like having to step back and realize like when you're not the one going through the thing, like the big exciting life change, it's hard, but I think it's also important to, like you mentioned, step back and be like, well, it's not personal.
Yeah.
It's not really about me. But then at the same time, it's like, it's not really about me.
That's so me. I'm like, it's not about me, but why?
I'd like it to be.
Like, but why? It should like always be about me.
Everything.
That's why I have very consciously have to objectively take myself out of the situation because 9 times out of 10, I want it to be about me. But I think that's just normal for like humans, especially those who like care a lot and really, like and enjoy the relationships they have with the people that they've known for a long time. So I think that's totally normal. But like we're saying, sometimes you just have to pull yourself out of it and just really kind of like not internalize it and realize it's not about you. It's nothing personal.
Right.
They're on a new journey. They're on a new journey, and sooner or later you'll be on a new journey too.
So interesting that you give a pass for people starting businesses. Okay, so I fit that category. I mean, I'm not getting married. I absolutely do not have any children, but I did start a business.
Yes, you did.
I'd be curious then to like think about how that has impacted my friends. Like I've never really thought about that before.
Especially when you were in those starting phases.
Yeah.
When you're conceptualizing, well, what does my business look like? And what does the messaging look like? And what is the branding? All that takes a lot of work that you have to pull away from people to really focus on.
Yes. Okay, I'm curious. I might send a couple texts and just like ask a few friends if they felt like I wasn't as available to them as a friend when I was kind of getting my coaching business off the ground. That's interesting.
It's worth the ask. They might not have had a problem with her. Maybe they feel or felt like, oh, maybe she's super busy, but it wasn't a thing. So you never know what the response might be.
It's true. I feel like I have pretty low maintenance friends. Like I am the high maintenance friend.
Oh.
But I have pretty low maintenance friends.
Well, that's good. That's a good position to be in. That's a good position to be in. I think I'm probably the same, to be honest. The same or similar. But yes, I mean, friendships just are difficult. And just after you kind of learn to take yourself out of that situation or out of that like negative space, I think that gives you more time to really focus on you and your goals and your passions and your purpose. And I think that'll kind of put you on the process or the path to basically your next phase in life, because I know that happened for me.
Right.
But like, I guess, Ava, for you, I mean, how is it finding new friends now? How have some of your friendships now developed now that we're both over 30 plus? We've started a business. You're living the life right now.
Oh my God.
So how is that looking like for you now?
Well, I think it's interesting because as a kid, like I really did not have friendships on lock. Like I was always the person that had like one friend, maybe two at a time. And it was like ride or die. So like I've always really valued loyalty, consistency, honesty. And I felt like, I'd have one really good friend for a while and then, kids are kids and like things happen and whatever.
Kids, yeah.
So I feel like I didn't have like tons of friends growing up and I'm okay with that. And I never really felt like overly connected to like where I went to school as a kid. Like I was always just sort of like ready for the next phase. And I was always like racing through school, like left high school to go to college early. Like I was just always like trying to get on with things. And so, I say that because it's like, I feel like I really didn't drop into feeling like fully comfortable with myself and also like what I wanted in terms of who I wanted to surround myself with until like my mid-20s. Because even in college, I was like racing through it, got done in 3 years, like wanted 5 jobs. Like, I don't know. I was always just like racing towards something and not really sure what.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I didn't really have a lot of like strong friendships to kind of like hold me in one of those like earlier phases that you're kind of talking about. But obviously, it's like I want to have friends. So I think what happened when I got into like my mid-20s to now early 30s, I think I just started looking around at like what types of things I was interested in and meeting new friends that way. And in Minnesota, it's not really easy to meet new friends as an adult because I think a lot of people actually have like their like childhood friends and like there's like elementary school friends and like they kind of like all live together in the same place. Like they're always like still super tight.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what that is. So I kind of set out to find new friends through just new interests of mine.
Yeah.
And so whether that was like through yoga, something that I really love doing, or I think I actually met most of my friends now through self-development type things, which I think is really interesting because when you value something like self-development and like constantly doing the work on yourself, I think when you put yourself in sort of like groups or programs with like-minded people, it's like you're all there to do the work. And it's really cool because you can resonate with them at that level of being interested in change, which I think is different than not wanting change. And so it's like almost the opposite of gripping and the opposite of like, well, you used to be this way and now you're that way because they never knew me then. They know me now. So I've met a lot of my friends now through, I think, a couple of different groups. One was a life coaching program. And it was a super cool, like super intense 8-week program. And I think I met like 2 or 3 like really, really good friends there. And then more recently, I joined a membership group called MWMM, which is a bunch of awesome women who are interested in upping their money game.
I love it.
Right?
Come on, rich
so
auntie.
Cool. It's so cool. And it's just like a topic that I feel like now people are talking about money more, but just like, you know, before it wasn't even really a thing that people talked about. So I've met a lot of really cool women there. A lot of them on similar journeys in terms of like having maybe a 9-to-5 and wanting to start their own thing. A lot of entrepreneurs, and that's been a really fun way to connect with people that are really heart-centered. So I feel like as I've really dropped into like feeling totally confident in who I am now, I've been able to then almost naturally just connect with really soul-aligned friends just based off of having, I guess you could say, shared goals or shared values in terms of doing the work, learning things. It's like my friend Sarah and I always joke, it's like, what new program can we sign up for? Like, what can we learn next? Like, what can we fucking do? It's so funny. But, and I would also say to like work. So like you and I met through work, for example. And obviously you meet a lot of people through working. So it's like you only really kind of like connect to the people that you really resonate with. But, and then I will say too, I want to mention the internet.
Social media, definitely.
I love social media because I have seen for over a decade the good side of social media. In addition to the bad, of course. But some of the good side is also meeting people that I'm now friends with. I've met coaches that I've now worked with on social. I've had clients come to me through social and we become friends. And I think that's just so cool because, you know, there are real people on the other side of those profiles.
Absolutely.
Which we always try to forget, you know?
Absolutely.
So I don't know, it's just like a big combo of things, but I'm happy now with the friendships I've called in because they feel supportive and they feel true and they feel based in common interests and common goals, not necessarily like, oh, well, we're from the same place. Like, I feel like it's very different. I know that not everyone would agree with that, but that's kind of my perspective.
I think that's super cool because you guys have those shared goals and common interests now, but your backgrounds are completely different.
Yeah.
So as you kind of grow in those friendships that started more recently, you get to learn so much more about like where they grew up and how they grew up. And that really gives you perspective in your own life as to maybe how you grew up and how you might deal with different things, just hearing those stories. So I think that's an amazing thing. I also do, even though social media is a double-edged sword, I have met some of my favorite people through social media. One of them being, I call him the little brother I never wanted, but he's like literally one of my favorite people because he has a heart of gold and just like this personality that is infectious to so many people. One of my favorite people. And honestly, I would say, even though a lot of my best friends were kind of going in our own separate paths and still connected in a way through group chats, we're kind of all still going through like these different paths to go to the same goal. Like one of my really good friends had just finished a medical program, and she's just kind of like finding a new way of life, which might stem into something else. Another one of my good friends is like really advancing in his career because that's one of his goals. Like, I'm not a career girl, but that's one of his goals. And I'm just like so proud of him for doing that. And another one of my friends is finding his way entrepreneurially and really kind of trying new things. And he's always kind of been like not afraid to like put himself out there and start new businesses and things. So I'm always kind of excited to see what he starts with next. And I have actually several friends like that. So it's just interesting to see, you know, where these relationships can go.
Yeah.
When A, you lose the dead weight, and B, you take yourself out of the equation when thinking about the status of certain friendships, because a lot of the times it has less to do with you and just more to do with two people that love each other a lot, but they're just kind of finding their way. Right. And that's really what your 20s and 30s are all about. But with that being said, I want us to share one thing.
Oh, God.
One thing or one way that we can be a better friend, and one way or one thing that people can do to be a better friend to us.
The way I'm looking at you right now, I'm like,
like I could start. I could start if it makes you feel more comfortable.
All right, go for it.
Because I feel like I have a long list. Okay.
Yeah.
But
let's hear it.
So for me, I could definitely work on listening more and being more present. Those two kind of go together, because there's a lot of times when my friends will tell me something or tell me a story and I just completely won't remember, even if it happened last week. And it's like, it doesn't mean I wasn't listening. It's just like, there's just so much other things going on, but some people really don't like that. But I could do a better job of listening and being more present and just not taking things so personally. A lot of times when I do take things personally, I shut down. And shutting down is definitely one of the things that will be the beginning to the end of any relationship. Because I'm really big on being able to communicate and being able to really understand where that your friend or your partner or whoever is coming from. I always say shutting down is like the beginning of the end. I'm trying to do that less. So things that I can do better. Definitely.
Listening more.
Yes.
Shutting down less.
Yes.
Love that for you.
I guess one way people can be a better friend to me, make me the center of the world, obviously.
Obviously. To our earlier points.
Obviously.
It's all about you.
It's all about me all the time. Like, if you make it all about me, I'm going to make it all about you.
What's the real one?
But if they can't do that,
what's plan B?
If they can't do that, one of my biggest love languages is quality time. So even if it's not physical, just the occasional text like, oh, I was thinking about you, or even the Instagram comment like, oh, you're doing great, sweetie, or something like that, really does wonders. I remember having this conversation with a group of my friends earlier in life, and I'm like, honestly, I tried to make it seem like I wasn't like high maintenance. I think they bought it. But I was like, honestly, just check up on me every now and then. Like a text goes a long way, but it truly does. And that's probably one thing that consistently I will say like over and over again. I could do better with that too, but it's definitely something that I really, really appreciate. It definitely goes a long way.
I get that. It's interesting that you share quality time, because when you were mentioning what you could improve in terms of being more present, that's how I equate like quality time. So I also have, well, I have like all the love languages are in my top 5, all 5 of them.
All 5 of them are top 5.
Yes.
Are they like all equal? Like...
No. Basically, you can knock off gifts and acts of service. But for me, the quality time is literally the presence. So like if we're sitting together right now, but I was on my phone or you were on your phone, like I'd be pissed. So it's so interesting because like I equate presence and listening like directly with the quality time.
Got you.
Which is just so interesting because it's like that's clearly what you value from your friends.
Yeah.
But they can, like the love languages, they can go both ways, right? It's like what you give and what you can receive can be different.
Could be, yeah.
Can be different.
Yeah.
Although I think you're fairly present.
Honestly, I forget a lot of things. Like one of my friends always comments about like how I don't remember things that she'll tell me, and I'm like, you tell me a lot of things. I can't remember everything, but at the same time, I could like just try to be more just mentally present when we're talking. Even though I feel like I am, but like sometimes I just can't recall something that we talked about last week. Sorry.
Maybe it's just a memory issue.
I have a lot of issues.
Take some mushrooms, improve the memory. You'll be great.
There are like pills or like something for
mushrooms. They make like supplements of these. I don't know which strain of mushroom is really great for memory, but there's definitely a type of mushroom directly related to improved memory.
Got you. Luckily, I love mushrooms, so I'll research that.
I'm getting really into them. I think they're cool. Remember Fantastic Fungi?
Oh, yes. The documentary that you want me to watch.
It's so good. Fantastic Fungi on Netflix.
It's on my list. Don't know if I'm going to get to it tomorrow, but maybe the next day.
We're busy tomorrow.
Oh, gosh. So busy.
Okay. So what are the questions?
So one way that you can be a better friend.
Okay.
And one way your friends can be a better friend to you.
Okay. I'll start with that one. So I think for me, the biggest thing right now that I'm realizing as a theme in my current relationships is reciprocity.
Yes.
I firmly believe that like in any sort of partnership, relationship, effort should be 50-50. Not 50-50 at the same time. So, you know, I think we have ability to flex on that. So for instance, if one of my friends is really busy right now, like starting a new program or launching a new business, I'm not going to expect them to be giving their full 50% to the relationship. I think then I can kind of scale up, right? So it's like, okay, maybe right now we're 70-30.
Yeah. And
vice versa. Like I'm doing something, I'm moving, I'm packing up all my shit. Like I'm not going to text you back for a few days because I just can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think something that it's like over time, a friendship should feel equal.
I can say, yep, I can.
In energy, in time, in whatever it is. And I think I've just been witnessing that some of my friendships don't feel equal. And what happens when I feel that way is I start to get bitter or resentful. And I don't like that. That's like my not self theme.
Yeah.
So when I'm not in alignment and I start to get bitter or resentful, that's just something that I've noticed coming up a little bit lately. And I think it could be happening just because I feel like I'm currently in one of those phases where like I need a little more.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I quite often can give a lot, but I'm in a phase where I'm like, no, I actually need more than I can give. And when it doesn't like come back the way I'm wanting it to, that's when I start to feel like, oh, what the heck? You know, so that kind of segues into also what I think I could do better.
Okay.
Which is to release some of that resentment. I don't like feeling that way, but sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
But I also realize that's not healthy. And it's been a hard couple of fucking years.
Yeah.
Like people are unwell. You know what I mean? Like
the kids are not okay.
The kids are not okay. Like the planet is unwell. Society is unwell. And so I try to remind myself of that.
Yeah.
In those moments where I am feeling like a little bit resentful because I don't want to be that way.
Yeah.
Because everyone's just having a hard time. And I do truly believe that everyone is just doing the best that they can. But at the same time, just being really mindful of friendships, relationships that feel like you're both equally showing up for each other and whatever that means to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's totally okay to take a break from, giving or a friendship, especially if it's not feeling equal or if it's not serving or aligning with where you are at the time.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of part of that mindfulness piece that you were talking about and the objective piece that I was talking about just kind of pulling yourself out of that situation, looking at it objectively, but also kind of giving grace to the other person. Like, that's not necessarily a bad person, if they are busy doing whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've been able to kind of take those moments, realize it wasn't really serving you, focus on your business, and basically manifest the kind of village that you have now where all of you are like money making bitches.
Hell yeah.
Doing amazing and really, really focused on doing the work. And that's kind of where this whole manifestation process kind of comes into. Because when you really start, I really, really believe this, when you really start to focus on yourself and your goals and really improving your own life, both spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, the people that you need will be coming. Yeah. They will come. Yeah. I really, really believe that. And it looks like it's happening for you, and I know it's happening for me.
It's happening.
I'm just going to stay on the track that I am on now, keep trying to hustle, keep trying to get like my people, and like just do the best I can and have fun.
And manifest some original rich bitch experiences.
Which has definitely been happening. Not sure how, but
I mean, not sure how.
Not sure how, but it's happening, and I love it.
It's been a concerted effort.
Definitely a concerted effort. But sometimes you just stumble into these things, and what to say? I love it. I love it.
Okay. Well, you love it.
I love it.
So should we then transition into our love it or leave it for the week?
Let's do it.
Okay. What are you loving this week?
This week, I am absolutely just loving the concept of growth and development, honestly, because to what we talked about with friendships, but to what you talked about, even with personal self-development, I think it's just such an important thing to realize, appreciate, and not take for granted. Because once you really realize and acknowledge the growth that you've come from, I feel like you feel more appreciative, and B, I feel like you feel less maybe stressed or like heavy with sometimes all the stresses that happen in life. So I try to kind of just live in acknowledging the growth and just live in that gratitude moment. Yeah. So I love the growth that I'm seeing. More needs to happen, but I'm proud of how far I've come. And sometimes I have those realization moments. Now leaving, what am I leaving? On the opposite side, I'm just trying to leave a lot of like that negativity. I don't want any negativity. And I also don't want any I want to leave any resemblance of kind of like, not necessarily my old self, but some of the old patterns that I'm trying to shed. One being just like the shutting down piece. Yeah. It's just like not really good. It's not really healthy. And that's not how you build relationships. I think there in any relationship, there's going to be some conflict, but it's how you deal with that healthily really kind of makes a difference. And I'm just learning a lot about that. So just trying to leave all the negativity, leave all the past bad habits, and just like really live in the moment and just keep trying to improve and be better and realizing it's not going to be a straight path. Sometimes there's going to be some hiccups, but nothing happens overnight.
Yeah, that's true. Everything good takes time.
Takes time.
Which is so hard to remember sometimes.
I know, especially in this like society of go, 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 make it happen now. And things seem to happen overnight for other people, but you really, really got to put in the work. So when you have that repertoire of work and you pop, you will pop. And you'll probably hear me say this over and over again. But when you put that work in and people look back and you start to pop, they'll be like, oh, she's been doing this for years.
Yes.
I trust her, instead of like having that one piece of good content, but not really having a repertoire behind you.
I mean, you're describing why all social media professionals hate the concept of going viral. Because going viral happens on accident. You cannot plan to go viral. You cannot create something to go viral. It just pops.
Yeah.
But oftentimes there's not that whole history of like someone like working in their lane or building something. And so like, if you go viral off some random shit, it doesn't help you anyways.
Exactly.
Anyways, I digress.
So Ava, what are you loving and leaving this week?
Whew. Okay. Well, I am loving that I got through this conversation about friendships without crying.
Yay.
Okay.
So proud of you.
Honestly. No, but I'm really also loving that we're recording this in person because, you know, we recorded our podcast trailer in person.
We did.
But this is our first full episode, and I think it's kind of fun.
I think it's absolutely fun. I think it's overdue.
It's overdue.
Even though I feel like I just saw you like 2 weeks ago.
That's also true.
Like apparently this was a month ago. Time.
Look what you signed up for. Whoops.
Well, no. I need more of you.
I'm glad you're here. So I'm loving that. I'm also loving that Drake dropped a surprise album for summertime.
Yes, he did.
And it's a dance album, which I actually love.
A lot of the internet doesn't, but I'm into it too.
I know. It's really good. I love all Drake, actually. I will say, I wish there were a couple of more one dance level type dance bangers on the album. I think he could have used a couple of those. But overall, it's still a bop.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the song, but there's one song that's like the perfect walking tempo. I discovered this on one of my walks. And it's literally like he made the soundtrack for walking. Can't remember what it's called. It's so funny though.
Oh god.
Because you're gonna play the song and I'll be like, go speed walk. And you're gonna be like, this song was made for walking.
You're gonna have to tell me the name of the song because I can't remember all the tracks right now.
I know. Okay.
I love the Drake album though a lot.
It's so good.
It's a lot of fun. I just think it's funny that Beyonce dropped the dance track just a couple days after. And it literally just lit up my life. Not only because she's Beyonce, because she is Beyonce. Drake's a really big star too. But the funny thing about the Drake album is he did that as, you know, dedication to Virgil.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. And I love dance music. I love house music. But for that album, something seemed missing. So when Beyonce released a couple days later, I was like, this is what I'm looking for. The
Beyonce song was the missing piece of Drake's album.
Beyonce had the missing piece that Drake did not have. Shout out to Drake. We love you, Drake.
A great resignation anthem.
Yeah, definitely. Beyonce said, fuck that job. And you know what I was about to do? Quit my damn job. But then I remember I had bills. So
yes. I also think it's kind of funny because she's like singing about quitting 9 to 5 when it's like, when is the last time she ever worked a 9 to 5? Never.
She's basically been famous all her life.
Very authentic.
But I mean, she also recorded Single Ladies as a married woman. So
she did?
She did.
I thought that was prior.
No, that released later in 2008 after they already got married.
Ooh.
Child.
That's a red flag for me.
You know what? Beyonce knows what will get the girls going.
Fine.
And I love her for it. And I can't wait for the next tour. So yeah, shout out to Drake.
Shout out to Drake. That's one of my favorite things. You can't take that away.
Oh, never. I love the Drake album. Sorry. I just pulled a Kanye. Yeah, sorry to you, but Beyonce Drake's really the greatest house album of all time.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I really just became Kanye. We
Sit
love
down.
Drake.
Just kidding.
Like, relax.
Relax. Okay. And I do have a leave it. So I love to paint my nails. I give myself a manicure about once a week.
Oh, she's talented.
And oh yes, I've been practicing this since I was like age 12. However, I still use original nail polish. None of the gel stuff, because it is too permanent and also bad for your nails.
Yeah.
However, what I'm not loving when I'm leaving this week is the way nail polish chips when you travel.
Ooh.
Like, it's the opening of the suitcases. It's the shoving a 50-pound bag on a train. It's the wheeling things around. Open, close, open, close. My nails are wrecked after like 3 days. Now, one could say, just upgrade your polish. But I don't want to.
Why not?
Because I like my routine.
Okay.
Okay. So, OPI, I love you, but not this week.
But not this week.
Not this week.
We'll check again next week. Awesome. Well,
anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Should I outro us?
Let's do it.
Okay. Thank you for listening to More with Ava and Najee. Head to themorepod.com for exclusive content. Follow us on Instagram at themorepod for a look behind the scenes. And if you love this episode, tell us what you loved in a 5-star review. We love you. Please and thanks.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye.